Sometimes in life there are wounds that don't heal easily, words that keep us awake at night, actions that make us lose trust. People who, just by thinking of them, send a sharp ache through our chest. And if you're watching this video, I'm guessing you've felt that way before. Or at least, you're carrying a question inside you. Why do the people who hurt us have such a deep impact on us? And is there a way to rise from that pain, stronger than before? I remember a former client of mine, a woman in her early 40s, intelligent, gentle, a teacher. She once told me, I'm not angry at him anymore, but every time I think about what happened, my heart still tightens. I asked her, looking back now, do you think you learned anything from that pain? She hesitated, then slowly nodded. I learned that I allowed myself to endure too much, and I deserve a kinder love. That moment reminded me deeply of Stoic philosophy. Every wound, if we look closely enough, carries a lesson, not a sweet lesson. Not an easy one, but a lesson that helps us grow. Have you ever felt that way? That someone walked into your life only to leave you broken, but when you looked back, those broken pieces helped you understand yourself better? Stoicism doesn't tell us to pretend pain doesn't exist. It doesn't tell us to thank the people who hurt us in a naive way. Stoicism teaches something far deeper. Be grateful for the lesson, not the cruelty, because every hurt, no matter how painful, opens a door toward inner growth. I want you to imagine something. You're walking along the path of your life. Some days the road is smooth, some days it rains, it's slippery. And then, there are days when someone pushes you hard, so hard that you think you'll never get up again. But somehow you do, slowly, painfully, but you rise. And when you look back, you realize you're not the same person anymore. You're stronger, clearer, more awake. And most importantly, you understand yourself better. I once worked with a man in New York who went through a devastating divorce, one that nearly broke him, but after many sessions he told me, I'm not happy that it happened, but I'm grateful it forced me to face parts of myself that I kept avoiding. Without that divorce, I wouldn't be the man I am now. That is the heart of Stoic philosophy, turning pain into wisdom, turning adversity into strength, turning the one who hurt you into an unexpected teacher of life. Not because they deserve forgiveness, not because they were right, but because you deserve peace. Stoic gratitude isn't weakness, it's a form of inner power, a conscious choice not to let pain drag you down, but to use it as a platform to rise. And in this video, I want to walk with you through 9 reasons why Stoics believe we should be grateful for the people who hurt us. Not to glorify them, but to free ourselves. We'll talk about how pain reveals who we are, how it teaches boundaries, how it forces us to grow, and how it opens doors we could never see while we were comfortable. And I want you to remember this through the entire video. Pain can break you, or it can build you, depending on how you choose to see it. So let's begin this journey, a journey not to reopen old wounds, but to transform them. To recognize that sometimes, the thing that hurt you the most is exactly what shaped you into someone stronger, wiser, and more beautiful. Now let's go deeper into this journey, into the lessons hidden inside pain. Reason 1. They help you see yourself clearly, your needs, values, and weaknesses. I want you to take a moment to think about this. When someone treats you poorly, when they hurt you, the first thing you feel isn't wisdom, it's shock. But as time passes, something shifts. The pain forces you to confront truths about yourself. I once had a client, a woman in her early 30s, who fell in love with a man who was emotionally cold. He rarely expressed affection. He kept her in constant insecurity. One day in a session, she told me, I kept trying to change myself to make him love me more, but in the end, I only lost myself. I asked her something simple. So what do you actually need in a relationship? She burst into tears, not because she didn't know the answer, but because she had never stopped to ask herself that question. Sometimes, the person who hurts us is the clearest mirror we'll ever have. They show us things we've ignored for too long, that we're accepting far less than we deserve, that we're sacrificing too much, that we're unclear about our self-worth, or that we've loved someone more than we've loved ourselves. A Stoic once said, "No pain arrives without pointing to something that must change." And when you finally see those truths, gratitude quietly begins to surface. Not gratitude for the hurt, but gratitude for the clarity it gave you. Reason 2. They help you develop inner strength. One thing Stoics repeat over and over is this: no one grows through comfort. Inner strength, resilience, isn't built on peaceful days. It's built in the moments when you think you can't take it anymore. And yet somehow you do. A man I worked with once was betrayed by his closest business partner, the person he trusted most. The partner took the money and disappeared. He told me so. I didn't think I could stand up after that blow. But he did, and when he looked back, he told me something I'll never forget. That betrayal showed me just how strong I really am. Stoics believe every pain you endure builds another layer of mental muscle. If no one ever hurt you, you'd never realize how strong you truly are. You wouldn't know your own endurance. You wouldn't understand that your heart is far stronger than you ever imagined. So the first true reason for gratitude is this: pain makes you stronger in ways peace never will. Reason 3, because they teach you how to let go of what you cannot control. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." But often we forget that simple truth. We try to change people. We try to make them kinder, try to make them love us more, try to make them think differently, and then we suffer. Because none of us can control another person's actions or choices. A young woman once told me she spent 3 years trying to make a man mature, love her more, value her more. But after 3 years he was exactly the same. She was exhausted, heartbroken, and she finally realized she was fighting a battle she could never win. In that moment she understood that continuing to expect him to change was something completely outside her control. When someone hurts you, they teach you one of life's deepest lessons. Letting go is not failure, it's freedom. Stoics know that when you stop trying to control others, you finally begin to control yourself. And that is one of the biggest steps toward emotional maturity. Reason 4, because they teach you how to set healthy boundaries. Not everyone knows how to set boundaries. Many of us grew up believing we had to give endlessly. That love means sacrificing everything. That kindness means never saying no. That forgiveness means tolerating anything. But in reality, sometimes the very people who hurt us are the ones who teach us the opposite. You need boundaries to protect yourself. I once worked with a woman who was constantly taken advantage of by her friends. They always came to her when they needed help, but none of them were there when she struggled. She felt drained, used, invisible. After months of therapy, she finally told me, "Because of those unhealthy relationships, I learned how to say no without feeling guilty." You see, sometimes pain doesn't come to break you. It comes to teach you an important skill you've been missing your whole life: how to protect yourself with clear, healthy, necessary boundaries. Reason 5. Because they help you upgrade your standards. Think about this. Every person who enters your life, even the worst ones, teaches you something about the standards you deserve, not the standards of the outside world, but the standards inside your heart: respect, kindness, honesty, emotional safety. A young man once told me that after breaking up with a toxic partner, he realized he wanted someone who listens, communicates, and respects boundaries, things he never thought were important before. I asked him, "If you hadn't gone through that relationship, would you have known this about yourself?" He shook his head. No, I would have kept thinking everything was fine. I would have kept tolerating things that hurt me. That's the interesting thing about pain. It raises your standards to a level where you finally recognize what you truly deserve. Sometimes, the person who hurt you is simply the beginning of the journey toward the right person later. We've now gone through the first 5 reasons, the ones that show us how pain can become a stepping stone to growth. Now I want to invite you deeper into this journey, into the emotional layers of the human heart, to see that even the deepest wounds carry the light of healing within them. Reason 6, because they give you a chance to practice forgiveness, not for their peace but for your own freedom. Forgiveness is one of the hardest lessons in life. It's not something you do for them, it's something you do for yourself. A middle-aged man once told me, I don't want to forgive him. It feels like if I forgive him, I'm saying he was right. And I shared with him one of the core Stoic teachings. Forgiving someone doesn't mean they were right. Forgiving means you're tired of carrying the weight. Stoicism teaches that anger and resentment hurt us far more than they hurt the person who wronged us. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies first. I once worked with a woman deeply wounded by her husband's betrayal. He lied, cheated, and shattered her trust. She said to me, I can't forgive him, I don't want to. And I told her gently, that's okay, you don't have to forgive him today. You don't have to forgive him this year, but understand this, the longer you hold on to the anger, the longer he stays inside your heart, long after he stopped deserving that space. She fell silent for a long time. She realized that forgiveness wasn't a reward for him, it was a liberation for her. When you forgive, you free yourself from the emotional cage that pain built around you. You reclaim your heart, you reclaim your strength, you reclaim the inner peace that was always yours. That is why Stoics are grateful for pain. Pain teaches you forgiveness is deletus, and forgiveness sets you free. Reason 7, because they make you appreciate the kind people in your life more deeply. I want you to reflect on something true. If you've never experienced coldness, you'll never know how warm kindness feels. If you've never experienced betrayal, you'll never understand the value of loyalty. If you've never been abandoned, you won't recognize the miracle of someone who stays. A young man once told me, I didn't know how lucky I was until my ex hurt me. When I met my current girlfriend, every little thing she did felt precious. Pain opens our eyes, it deepens our heart. It sharpens our intuition. It helps us distinguish real people from pretenders. Marcus Aurelius said it beautifully. Without darkness, you cannot see the stars. You're not grateful to the person who hurt you because you want them back. You're grateful because they taught you how to cherish the ones who truly deserve a place in your life. Reason 8, because they help you become a stronger and wiser version of yourself. There's a truth all of us eventually have to face. Pain is where the soul grows fastest. When you're disappointed, you learn about expectations. When you're betrayed, you learn about trust. When you're abandoned, you learn self-reliance. When you're disrespected, you learn your worth. When you're hurt, you learn how to heal yourself. A young man once told me after a heartbreak that nearly destroyed him, I hate what happened, but I don't hate the person I became because of it. I smiled, because that is exactly the spirit of Stoicism. Not everyone who hurts you is here to ruin your life. Sometimes, they're the ones who push you toward a better path. Even if it's in the harshest way possible, pain makes you think deeper. It forces you to observe, reflect, and ask yourself questions like, why does this hurt me so much? What does this say about me? What can I change so I don't repeat this pattern? That reflection creates wisdom, that endurance creates depth. And those wounds, those very wounds, shape you into someone extraordinary over time. Reason 9, because they give you the chance to return to yourself. And finally, the deepest reason of all, the reason that makes every painful moment meaningful. When someone hurts you, after the anger, After the disappointment, after the heartbreak, there comes a very special moment, the moment you return to yourself. You begin asking questions like, who am I without this person? What actually makes me happy? What do I want for my life? What is truly worth giving my heart to? Where did I abandon myself along the way? I once heard a man say, "She left." And that's when I finally learned how to stay with myself. You see, pain doesn't just take things away from you. It also gives things back. It gives you the parts of yourself you lost while trying to hold on to someone else. It gives you the silence, the depth, and the clarity that life's noise had taken away. It gives you you. And when you finally stand stronger, clearer, more loving toward yourself, you'll realize something almost magical. The pain didn't just hurt you, it shaped you into a more beautiful version of yourself. When you can see these things inside your suffering, you finally understand. Gratitude isn't because they deserved it. Gratitude is because you deserve peace. And now, we've walked through all 9 reasons to be grateful for the people who hurt us, not to romanticize pain, not to forgive before you're ready, but to understand that everything you've gone through, every heartbreak, every disappointment, can become fuel for your inner growth. If you look closely from the first reason to the last, there is one message. No one can take your inner strength away from you unless you hand it to them. When someone hurts you, you can let the wound make you bitter, closed, cynical about everything. Or you can choose the Stoic way. Look into the root of the experience and turn it into part of your evolution. I want you to pause for a moment and reflect on your own journey. Think about the people who have hurt you. It could be an ex-lover, a friend who betrayed you, a co-worker who made you feel not enough, a family member, which is always the hardest to accept. And then ask yourself, who did I become because of that? What did I learn about myself? What do I have today that only exists because of yesterday's pain? Maybe you're stronger now. Maybe you understand yourself better. Maybe you love yourself more. Maybe you fear less and trust yourself more. Or maybe you're simply more mature. And that alone is a priceless gift. Stoicism doesn't tell us to deny our emotions. It teaches us not to let emotions run our lives. It teaches us to look directly at our pain, take the lesson, and walk forward with steadier feet. You don't have to thank the person who hurt you today. You don't have to forgive when your heart is still heavy. You just have to understand that every wound opens a door toward growth, depth, and wisdom that peaceful days could never give you. And if today's video touched you in some way, if you feel a little lighter, a little clearer, or if you're ready to step into your healing journey with a more awakened heart, then I want to invite you to continue walking with me and this community. This is Stoic Awakening More, a place where we awaken wisdom, build mental strength, and find lasting peace through Stoic philosophy. And if you want to support this journey, please hit like. It helps YouTube bring this message to others who also need healing. Hit subscribe so we can meet again in future videos on Stoicism and inner growth. Share this video, send it to someone who needs new perspective, encouragement, or a little light during a dark time. And leave a comment. Tell me, which of the 9 reasons spoke to you the most? What have you learned from your own pain? I read every comment and I deeply value the chance to connect with you, people who are trying every day to become steadier and stronger versions of themselves. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for bravely looking at your pain. Thank you for continuing to walk forward. I'll see you in the next video on Stoic Awakening More, where every day we slow down a little, go deeper a little, and grow stronger. A lot. See you soon.